Hey guys. Today I want to talk about a very awesome book which is called, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, by Shad Helmstetter. But before we get started, please take a few seconds to subscribe to the channel, and also to like the video. Thank you. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. A book by Shad Helmstetter. Shad is addressing an everyday reality. Either consciously or unconsciously we all indulge in self-chat and puzzle over a wide variety of things in our moments of wasted time. This book tries to ascertain the real prowess of this phenomenon and how we can capitalize on it. If you prefer to play on the safe side, you are probably inclined to agree that a daily dose of motivation is all it takes to come out victorious. But why then so few people manage to break the ice? Only those whose lives are perfectly aligned with their inner needs can be exempted from reading this amazing masterpiece. To put it differently, we believe that flipping through the pages of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself would be beneficial. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Chapters 1 to 5, Setting Up a Plan. Frequently, we have been told that we can achieve anything we crave for if we put up the necessary effort. Nonetheless, in practicality, the people sharing these tips don't have the credibility since no one has rolled out the red carpet before them. In all honesty, they love the glamour and limelight as much as the next person. Why then we fail in reaching our goals, or making things work the way we want it to be? The everyday life which takes most of our energy and engrossed us entirely is the biggest bottleneck one can come across against. The answer to this struggle is almost always right underneath your nose, but we tend to overshoot the destination. After being engaged in constant learning, you'll find out the unvarnished truth regarding the process of exceeding your expectations. Shad talks about his path to becoming a real goal setter and achiever. Are you ready for the bitter truth? Top-notch behavioral analyzers and researchers have uncovered that the lion's share, 70%, of the inner phenomena is comprised of negative sensations. To spice things up, it's also brought to light by doctors alike that most of the illnesses are self-induced. Wow, that's a revelation. Since the old programming of the mind is the engine, which controls and cultivates the habits, you should zoom in on the practices you apply to your life. The author ponders about the probability of maintaining high intensity which could lead to full reformation, inwardly. So why then, we fail to establish good habits, even though we've read dozens of self-help books and exerted ourselves in following those ground rules? A general rule of thumb is that self-improvement is an endless process, not an overnight sensation. It stands to reason why most people just go back to their previous lifestyle and abandon the idea of alteration. To make up for this loss, Shad pinpoints 3 key elements omitted from self-development literature. Permanence. Knowledge of the brain functions. The idea of developing a specific programming vocabulary. Chapters 6 to 10 Self-management. Can we find a single soul on this planet who doesn't indulge in self-talk? Well, that's on the same wavelength as saying, let's find a person who doesn't need oxygen. The emotional expression can either be put into words, pictures, thoughts, and we all one way or the other rely upon the mind to make decisions. So, the answer to that question is, no. With that being said, a thought doesn't have any real power until you pour belief into it. In other words, ideas and concepts mean nothing without the person to inflict judgment and ruminate on something. Years and years of researching and exploring have led the author into noticing that most of the self-talk falls into the unconscious realm. It means that people do it out of habit, and are not keenly aware of the sensations that emerge. If you go back a little bit and reminisce about the dreams that you once had and the craftiness you possessed but didn't follow that intuition, you'll find out that most of the self-talk is negative. You could have turned them into a real-life experience, but something insurmountable cropped up. The 5 steps that control our success or failure. Behavior. Feelings. Attitudes. Beliefs. Programming. How can we define self-talk? Self-talk is a way to override our past negative programming by erasing or replacing it with conscious, positive new directions. The 5 levels of self-talk. The level of negative acceptance. The level of recognition and need to change. The level of decision to change. The level of the better you. The level of universal affirmation. In the last chapter, the author focuses on the pros and cons of the positive thinking rhetoric. As a rarely criticized concept, the author is curious regarding its practical nature. Is it just a good theory, or is it applicable in day-to-day encounters? Shad cast doubt on the idea of developing a mindset which can subdue the urge to produce negative thoughts, forever. For precise the same reason, leaning on the notion of developing into a positive thinker is short-lived. The human mind wants actions, words, commands, not some commercialized belief system that a large chunk of the population nurtures. Chapters 11 to 15 New Attitude. Shad starts by attempting to unpuzzle the myth of motivation. He makes it crystal clear that there are different kinds of motivations and motivators, most of whom have an audience of anxious listeners whose life has turned upside down, and she is ready to wave its wand and make all the sorrow disappear. It's all done energetically so that once a person leaves, that collective magnetism would feel psyched up to beat the odds. Even companies endorse the same attitude when trying to motivate their colleagues and conclude businesses. External motivation is temporary. If you don't want to be led astray and want to avoid veering off course, then you have to understand that you need an internal shift. Corporate executives and managers should heed these warning indicators. If at some point, you felt like your motivational speech didn't have the effect you were hoping for, you should understand that external motivation is not linked to permanency. Many people confuse this part with hypnosis. Although they pretty much share the same features, hypnosis helps you enter a trance state, while self-talk guides you through the process of achieving your goals, consciously. When it comes to practical use, you should know that an overly complex system that requires much time, energy will never be put into use. Advocate for simplicity, and you'll immediately see the positive change. Also, it is critical to understand the possibilities regarding self-talk. Silent self-talk, the concealed chatter. Self-speak, anything you say out loud. Self-conversation, anything you say out loud while holding both ends of the conversation. Self-write, this one is self-explanatory. Take talk, listen to your thoughts on a recording device. Chapters 16 to 20 lean towards problem solving. Self-talk can be further subdivided into 4 categories. Habit changing, attitude building, motivational, situational self-talk. State your goal in the present tense and remain persistent. The subconscious mind is not sure whether your statement is true or false, therefore, you should always insist on telling it to act upon that energy. I always do everything I need to do when I need to do it. I never argue or let my emotions work against me. I don't smoke. I have a good memory. I easily and automatically remember any name or anything that is important to me. I eat only what I should. I am a good listener. I hear everything that is. I am attentive, interested, and aware of everything that is going on around me. Try to get as specific as possible, and that will help you change your attitude. Your attitude will determine the outcome, it's that simple. You should also bear in mind that attitude has a critical role in the portrayal of yourself. As we progress throughout this book, you also start to get the big picture and act upon given instructions. This is the essence of problem solving and accomplishment. Also, don't misuse the term goal, and try to be as consistent as possible. Once your projections are in tune with the reality, it will be easier to conquer the world. Chapters 21 to 23 Self-talk and its effects. The last 3 chapters revolve around the idea of spearheading a campaign that will enable you to create your own self-talk. Emphasize honesty and try not to embellish your daily encounters. Keep it real and loud by knowing your current standings. Example: today has been a tough day. We also advise you to run through the self-talk checklist to see whether you are moving in the right direction. Is your self-talk stated in the present tense? Is it specific? Does it get the job done without creating any unwanted side effects? Is it easy to use? Is it practical? Is it personal, and is it honest? Does your self-talk ask enough of you? The author highlights the following statement. You are everything there is, your thoughts, your life, your dreams come true. You are everything you choose to be. You are unlimited as the endless universe. Key lessons from What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. 1. The truth behind I can do it mentality. 2. Find out what really works. 3. Educate yourself and dive deep into your unconscious tendencies. The truth behind I can do it mentality. Ask yourself, can a 75-year-old man from Texas beat Usain Bolt in 100 meters race? Don't care who your motivational speaker is, the truth is that not everything is possible. Genetics, culture, environment, financial and physical capabilities, all of these can affect the outcome. Make smart moves, and you can end up exceeding your expectations. But believing that a 45-year-old dude who has never been a basketball player can defeat LeBron James in one-on-one game is crazy. Find out what really works. Shad merely implies that an internal shift is 100x more powerful than millions of external motivational boosts. They wield no real power, and you should not lean on them for overcoming temporary setbacks. Educate yourself and dive deep into your unconscious tendencies. There's some very interesting quotes in the book. The brain simply believes what you tell it most. And what you tell it about you, it will create. It has no choice. A lot of people have lived richer lives because someone who cared took the time to listen. Give life to your dreams, give strength to your visions, and give light to your path. You will become what you think about most. Your success or failure in anything, large or small, will depend on your programming, what you accept from others, and what you say when you talk to yourself. The more you think about yourself in a certain way, the more you will think about yourself in that same certain way. Critical review. Well, it is good to something that questions the concepts which are overly commercialized, such as a positive mindset. It's of enormous importance to have someone who fears not in letting the cat out of the bag. Shad Helmstetter gives us the lowdown on how self-talk affects our decision-making, and how we can make use of it.
Thank you for learning with me in this book review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.